Hi, welcome to the video on chains using Langchain. In this video, we're going to cover what chains are, what is a single chain, and what is a sequence of chains. So we'll start off with what we left off earlier. So in the first video, we saw the general inputs that would go into building a Langchain. We would import it, get OpenAI, put in the OpenAI key, and then we would instantiate an LLM on OpenAI. I've kept the temperature as 0, so it should give us the same output all the time. In the video on prompts, we learned about prompt templates and we built a template around reviews of a mountain bike. And herein the client or the customer would be putting in the input as a product and they would get a review of that product in 3 points. After building the prompt, we added that prompt onto the LLM and the output that we would get would be those 3 features of that mountain bike. Now let's combine these features of building a prompt and giving it to an LLM into a chain. Now that's effectively what a chain is. So to get this, we can go to langchain.chains. There are multiple chains that we can get. We'll use the one which is LLM chain. Now when we're building a chain, it primarily needs those 2 elements, the prompt and the LLM of choice. So, and then we'll run the same command before we ran this thing, right? LLM text from prompt. We'll run that through a chain. When we're running it through a chain, we just say chain.run and we give the input. And we should get the same output that we got for effectively when last time we ran. So when we're building chains, there's another element that we can add, which is called verbose. Now, when you set this to true, what it does is, when you set it to true, what it does is it gives you details of how the LLM chain or what is the LLM chain doing behind the scenes. So when you run this, it gives you an output. So it says entering into a new LLM chain. Then it says prompt after formatting. So effectively, this would be the prompt that it will be getting. It says prompt after formatting, give me the review for giant stance in 3 key points. And then it will give you the output. So it says finish chain and the output would be there. This becomes very important as we get into more complicated chains. Okay, now let's look at multiple chains. Now multiple chains would be where one chain's output is the input for the next chain. And then you can just simply keep adding on more and more chains to this. Let's take an example, right? A simple example. Now the example in this case is where a user wants the best mountain bike that is within the budget that he or she has, and would also like to know what's the best time to buy that mountain bike so that they can get the best price on it. So the user's input is going to be money, and the output that you're going to get is going to be the name of the mountain bike and the months in which are the best time to buy it. So one can think about it is that there would be 2 prompts that you would need to build, right? Prompt 1, wherein you're focusing on the price, and the input that variable that's going to come from the user would be the price. And that price would go into a prompt which would effectively become suggest a good mountain bike for say Canadian $1,000, give only one name. Now why this one name becomes important is that we know that this prompt would then get converted into a chain which would then link to another chain. So we only want one output, right? To build the next component, which is the best time to buy it, we would take the second prompt, but remember that this time the input is going to come from the output once prompt 1 is run. So it's going to give us the product, which we know is now going to be only one name. And this input is then going to be given to what are the best months to buy this product. So now what we can see is based on these prompts, we can develop 2 independent chains. So we call it chain 1 and chain 2. Now in chain 1, we'll build it just the way we built it before, where we just give it the LLM that is there and the prompt will be defined as what prompt we want. So this one will be for prompt 1. We'll build the next one for prompt 2. Let's run this. Now, what we want to do is we want to combine these chains. So we'll import something called a simple sequential chain, right? From Langchains, we'll import simple sequential chain. And what the simple sequential chain would do, as the name suggests, it would give the output of 1 into the as an input to the second. So we build a final chain, which is then going to call upon sequential chain class, and the chains are going to be given as a list, chain 1 first, chain second. And again, we would set verbose to true because this will tell us what's happening behind the scene. When we run this chain, what we want to look at is that the input would be the one that's only for prompt 1. So the prompt 1 input was price. So in this one, we only need to give the input for the first and then should go ahead and give us. Since we've set verbose equal to true, it's not going to give us the outputs immediately. So it says entering into a new simple sequence chain. And we know that, okay, this one is going to be the first one, which is just the input, which is going to be the output of the first prompt, wherein identifies that there is a specific bike, which is for this specific price point. And then this would go on and it'll give us the months as the output. So April, May, and June are the best time where we could typically get the best price for this. So what we've seen till now is that we've got these chains which could take those prompts and then combine them into sequences. Now this becomes extremely important once we start building applications where you want multiple things to happen after giving just one output. Now at this point, we've covered basic inputs in terms of prompts and chains, and we get into the next video, which is going to be about agents, where we give the language models the power to look at data from outside.